Hey guys, welcome to a little Revit tutorial with Mr. Fulton. We're going to take our 3D models that we've just built and start to render them out in software here. Some of the things that we need to know though about our models is that um, the core structure should be 3 inches by 3 inches. It's going to make this a lot easier for you. You should also know the scale of this as far as your project is concerned. From mock up to our plans that we create here are going to be like a 1 to 3 ratio. So for every 1 foot, or sorry, um, 1 unit here that we use for our models are going to be um, 3 times that here in Revit. So what's going to be 3 inches, uh, 3 inch wall in our model is going to be now 30 feet in Revit. What we're going to do is start off with an architectural template. Open that up, and we're going to start building up a wall here. Um, by default, the location line will measure out your wall from the center line. So what that means is if I go to create 2 adjoining walls, 30 feet each, um, and I want to make sure it's to scale. This is important. I want the outside edge of your wall to be, of your building to be 30 feet wide. And so you're going to notice that when I measure this out, when I start adding walls, it's going to start measuring from the center line of that wall and adding on to the outside. So if I add another wall over here, it's going to be 30 feet point or 30 feet 8 inches. Right now I just have one wall, so it's only 30 feet 4 inches. The reason is because we're creating, these are 8 inch 8 inch walls here. It's going to add on length to our wall, which we don't really want. We want to keep this to scale based on our plan. So what we have to do, delete those out of there. I want to choose wall, and I want to go to the finished face exterior. That's the part that I want to be measured out. And so I'm going to go to 30 feet here, measure down 30 feet. I'm not sure I quite got 30 feet on that. Nope, maybe 30. All right. So now if I go to check it with my exterior wall there, 30 feet. Okay. So no matter what it's going to do, it's going to set up these walls to based on the exterior face of that wall that I created. So that's going to help out a lot later on. Um, so I don't need that dimension anymore. I know that what I'm creating is going to be true to scale based on our model. So I've got a wall built. Now if I check this wall out based on my north, because this is north elevation looking this way, if I check that out from my north elevation, what I have here is not a 30-foot wall that's tall. It's 30 foot wide, but not tall. What I need to do is um, adjust the levels of my walls here. So what I'm going to do is take this. I'm going to unlock level 2. I want to make this 30 feet. And what I'm going to do is select my wall, drag this up to 30 feet until I see that little highlighted blue line show up. And I'm going to drop it there. I'm going to make sure that this is locked back in place so nothing messes with it. So I've got that in place. Now what I want to do is start thinking about how I'm going to cut these walls out. Now, just another thing that happened is, let's look at my east side. Same thing has to be done with this wall before I get into cutting holes here. I'm going to go back to my north side now and start thinking about, all right, I got some cutouts in my walls that Mr. Fulton made me do. What I have to do now is um, create a wall opening. So in your architecture tab, over here, you should see a little symbol as like a little gap in the wall. It says wall right next to it. Shows a little graphic of what you can do with that. So what we're going to do is think about where your placement of your cutouts are located. So if I have one that is down here, what I want to do is select wall opening, make sure it's highlighted, select my wall that I want to create that opening, and draw out shape that's going to be roughly the size of my cutout that I created here. Now what I want to do is go into this and start looking at the measurements that it's throwing at me. Okay, based on the model I'm looking at here, the base from the floor to the bottom of this cutout is 1/4 inch, which equals 2.5 feet. Okay, so that's 2.5 feet. Same dimension for here from the exterior wall to the edge of this cutout is 2.5 feet. This is what's going to make it easy. If you use those 1/4 inch marks wisely, then this should work out perfectly for you. This right here, I know this window is another 1/4 inch wide, so it's 2.5 feet wide. That means this has to change. So I jumped ahead there. So 2.5 feet, 2.5 feet, 2.5 feet. All that measures out really good. What I want to do is measure my window here to see how wide I made it. And what I'm going to have to do is modify this cutout and drop it down to, he made this about 1 inch. So what I have to do is drop this down to 10 foot. It's 10 foot 10, 10 foot 1, 10 foot. All right. So I have a cutout there. Now that's done, right? Well, no, because what it's going to look like if I look at it from a 3D view is basically just a hole in the wall. And you guys know that I made y'all finish out those holes. So it's not going to be just a hole right there. So there's going to be some work that we have to do to come back to that. But what I want you to do is start working on some of your cutouts on one of your walls. And what we'll do is revisit this and start looking at how we're going to fill this in with extra wall space. So that's it for this part. Just a simple scaling up, knowing how to set up your wall tool, your measurements tool, how to create a simple wall opening. And that's it for part one here with our creating a wall opening for our models.